Marjane Satrapi, illustrator and filmmaker. Iran is experiencing the world's first feminist revolution. The author of Persepolis, alongside fellow writers and illustrators, has published the graphic novel Woman, Life, Freedom about the revolt in Iran following the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, who died in police custody. Marjane Satrapi returns. After years away from comics, the art that brought her massive praise from both critics and the public, the author of the acclaimed Persepolis has returned to drawing and writing. There was something important to say, Satrapi explains, in the living room of her home in Paris. The 54-year-old Iranian-born graphic novelist hosted ELPAIS on Tuesday, November 28. Drawing is the human being's first artistic expression before writing. The cartoonist and filmmaker wanted to narrate the death of Mahsa Amini, the 22-year-old woman who was detained by Iran's morality police for not wearing her veil correctly. Head coverings are mandatory for women in Iran. Satrapi wanted to say something about this and about what came afterwards, a wave of protests and brutal repression. Mahsa Amini will forever be the symbol of the fight for freedom. She died because she wore the veil incorrectly, Satrapi notes, before adding that Iran is experiencing the world's first feminist revolution. At the initiative of the late French editor Sophie de Sevry, Satrapi brought together three specialists: political scientist Farid Vahid and historian Abbas Milani, both Iranians, as well as veteran French reporter Jean-Pierre Perrin, and a dream team of 17 comic authors, including several Iranians and Spaniards. The result is Woman, Life, Freedom, title of the publication, which takes its name from the motto of the revolution. Signing manifestos is great, but it has little mileage, she explains. But a book lasts. However, at another point in the conversation, she clarifies, you have to be humble about the influence of a book, a song, or a movie. I sold millions of copies of Persepolis, which can be purchased in 2 volumes or as a complete book, and I don't know how many hundreds of conferences I gave. Did I change anything? How would I know? Did I arouse people's curiosity? Yes, I contributed a little. Just a little bit. But that's the only way to change the world. From interviews with Marjane Satrapi, we always come away with the same feeling, that the character who appears in her comics is, in fact, the creator. She has the same whirlwind of ideas, the same clarity of principles, and the same iron character. As soon as Satrapi enters her apartment, and upon seeing the photographer from ELPAIS, she announces that she refuses to be photographed. It's not to act interesting, she clarifies. Every time someone takes a photo of me, I feel a little like the indigenous people of the 19th century. I have the impression that the cameras are stealing my soul. I don't even let my friends take photos of me. And if they do, I take away their phone and I delete it. 3 years ago, during her last interview with ELPAIS, in which she allowed herself to be photographed, she said, I no longer feel like making comics. And if you don't feel like doing something, it's better not to do it. Actually, even now, I haven't done any comics. The author clarifies, I've done a double-page illustration and the cover art. That's it. It's not a little. In all the pages of Woman, Life, Freedom, which is much more than a protest book or a nonfiction comic, you can feel the strength of this indomitable artist, who came to France to study and created a classic graphic novel. On the cover of the new book, you can see a group of faces, women with their hair in the air, as if it were a bonfire, and there are men next to them. A big difference is that, this time around, the Woman, Life, Freedom movement is supported by men, because women's rights are the rights of society. Satrapi illustrates the chapter feared and hated about the guardians of the revolution. They're not called the guardians of Iran, she observes. This regime doesn't love Iran. They don't dress like Iranians or talk like Iranians. Iran, to them, doesn't mean a damn thing. She insists that in Iran, a minority has held the majority hostage for almost half a century. The country has advanced and modernized, while the regime has remained frozen in time or gone backwards. She says that women, protagonists of the recent revolt, got educated and fought to achieve basic freedoms in the face of misogynistic and corrupt religious authorities and bureaucrats. They're a minority and don't represent even 15% of the population.